This far removed from the Last Jedi premiere, I probably don't need a spoiler warning to say how crazy it is that Kylo and Rey were twins the whole time!
How you get so big getting food of this kind?
Thematic twins! Not biological ones, gosh! No, they're both obviously clones of Jarl Poof. Okay, yeah, no. Let's discuss the real point of this video, and that is Rey. I want to discuss her journey to find identity in The Last Jedi. I am going to hit on a couple of points that I've made in other videos, specifically on the moral of The Last Jedi, and some points on Kylo Ren. If some of what I'm saying seems a little bit thin, it might be because I talked about it already, and if you want to click there, you can see some of my other videos. Or what I said might not make sense because I just might not be very good at doing talking. Kylo Ren and Rey. Pretty safe to say that they are the emotional heart of The Last Jedi. Their story was so hypnotizing that, in a way, it draws energy from other subplots of the movie, which is unfortunate because I feel like there are other subplots in the film that needed a little bit more heart and a little bit more time and they didn't get it. But that said, the movie was already long enough, and I do think that Kylo and Rey were the more important thing to focus on. Sometimes in a movie there's give and take, and that's just how it goes. The dynamic between Rey and Kylo in The Last Jedi is just intense, and whether you are full-on Team Reylo, or you're still hoping she's going to be a Skywalker, or you're just fans of the characters and you're going to go with whatever they do provided it's done well, it's hard to argue that their story isn't the heart of the sequel trilogy right now. These two characters are linked, and not just because of some Snoke-induced Force link, which is something I definitely want to talk about, but will be in a different video. It's just like Space Smeagol said. Darkness rises and the light to meet it. Snoke was sensing, knew, is just BSing, something we can all tell. That either by the power of the Force or by the power of their protagonism, these two characters are bonded. And I do want to get into this bond, but first we have to spend some quality time getting to know Rey. At this point, I feel very comfortable saying that the title, The Force Awakens, refers to Rey. She says it in The Last Jedi.
Something inside me has always been there. But now it's awake.
Now, of course, it could have a more general meaning as well, but either way, Rey is becoming powerful within the Force and is a big deal in The Force Awakens. Actually, Rey is so powerful that she's been labeled a Mary Stew by many fans. Mary Stew being the female version of a term called Gary Stew, and a Gary Stew is a character who's generally considered to be overpowered on the sole basis that he is a protagonist. Maybe that's what's going on with Rey, maybe not. You can be not a fan of the writing all you want, but it doesn't change what's going on screen, so that's just not something I feel like dwelling on right now, but it is important enough to just address. While Rey has many Force moments in The Force Awakens, from when she mind tricks James Bond to the epic saber grab, it's important to note that Snoke senses her early.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
This is just after Rey and Finn escape Jakku, which leads me to believe that Jakku was either shielding Rey from being sensed in the Force in some way, or that she was using the Force to pilot the Falcon. At this point, I think the second idea is more likely. From there, Rey's power only grows in the film. She seems to be an absolute natural when it comes to her Force abilities. A lot of people need a reason for her power to be in her bloodline. Never mind that characters like Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and even Yoda probably had Muggles for parents. I think the reason for her power is something more mystical, something that is clearly stated in The Last Jedi. The darkness rises and the light to meet it. As Snoke said, he assumed wrongly that this was going to be Skywalker. Perhaps when Luke shut himself off from the Force chose a new champion in Rey. Or perhaps it was going to be Rey all along. Either way, Rey is the light side of the coin to Ben Solo. I've talked at length about how Ben/Kylo is driven by the identity of his parents and grandfather. Rey is the same, but different. Rey doesn't know who she is. At the end of The Last Jedi, I still don't think she's figured this out. Rey keeps talking about her family, and that they're coming back, and that she can't be away from Jakku for too long or she might miss the opportunity to find them again. But is this because she truly believes her family is coming back, or is this a type of mental security blanket? When she meets BB-8 in The Force Awakens, she asks where he's from, and he bloops something along the lines of, "It's confidential." Rey responds with, "Me too. big secret. It's somewhat of a joke, but it's a line that's stuck with me since 2015 when the movie came out. Why bring this up to a random droid? Like, why talk about your family as if they're some sort of super spy syndicate or something? It makes me think of a kid who doesn't want to admit why his or her parent is gone and instead makes up a story that makes it okay. And I don't say that to be crass or to belittle anyone who's going through that. I think it's a very real mental defense, and I think that's what Rey is doing here. She's building up this story that she wasn't abandoned. Mom and dad are superheroes and they're all fighting crime, and that's why they're not here to be with me. Throughout The Force Awakens, Rey's constantly saying she wants to get back to Jakku, but does she really? We see her dreaming of being a pilot and watching as ships take off from the surface. Does she really want to wait for her family? Or is she a scared kid that's never had anyone to look out for her and she just doesn't know who she is or what she wants to be? Whether it's secret spy parents or a rough and tumbling smuggler or a Jedi master, she wants to know who her family is because that would make her path clear. That would tell her who she is. That would give her permission to go and do more than scavenging parts of other people's pasts. She spent her whole life collecting bits and pieces from other people's adventures, slowly assembling her own narrative about who she is. All she does is look at the ruins of other people's adventures waiting to have one of her own. This is also a good time to note that Rey may not even be her real name. The name, Rey, appears on the helmet she wears in Star Wars space letters, albeit it's spelt a little bit differently. Even when she discovers she has the power of the Force and she faces down Kylo Ren and sees the destruction of Starkiller Base and knows she has a friend in Finn, she still doesn't give herself permission to be a hero. Even in The Last Jedi, when Luke refuses to leave his island, she claims that redeeming Ben Solo is their only hope. It's not until the very end of The Last Jedi, when she lifts the rocks that lets the rebels escape, that she finally sees that maybe she could have a part to play in what's going on. And as a side note, Finn is the only person in her life that has ever come back for her. This is why she's so moved when Chewie says it was Finn's idea to rescue her. When she was trying to escape Starkiller Base, it was because she didn't think anyone was coming to rescue her, and she was her only hope. I don't know where their relationship is going, but I think it's important to not get so caught up in the Force bond between her and Kylo that we forget the friend bond between her and Finn. Both of these dynamics are going to be really important for shaping her character as we go forward in Episode 9. Her lack of belief in herself is the driving point for her identity. Heck, if the cave scene from The Last Jedi is anything to go off of, I'd say she only wants to learn how to use the Force so she can have an answer about her parents. When she goes straight to the dark side cave during Luke's first lesson, it's because it had, quote, something she needed. Luke was fearing that this meant power, but for Rey, it was just answers. And identity is what the whole sequel trilogy is about. It's the driving motivation for Rey and Kylo. It's what Luke is afraid of and why he goes off in self-imposed exile. It's what Finn is trying to figure out. Who is he? He has no idea. For Poe, is he just a hero or can he be a leader too? But that, again, is a whole other video. What I want to see from Rey going forward is her letting go of her need to come from somewhere or be someone because of who her family is, and to just accept that she can be a hero in her own right. That the Force could have chosen her because it chose her, and not because of any other reason. And maybe that's her burden to carry. Why everyone else has a legacy to live up to, she has to fight to make her own. That's all I have on this for now. I know at the end of my second Kylo video, I promised a video about the Force bond between Kylo and Rey, but I thought it was important to get into Rey's character before I did that, so that will be the next thing I work on Last Jedi vlog-wise, and it is coming. I just really wanted to hit this point. As always, please leave a comment on anything you think I got wrong, on anything that you thought was good. I always love discussing things with you guys in the comments. If there's anything you'd like to see me discuss, please let me know there too. Make sure to follow us at Port Haven Forum so you can keep up to date on the type of things we're doing. Sometimes I do polls for content that's coming out, and it'd mean a lot to me if you could follow us there just to give us feedback on how we're doing. And until next time, keep it real and fly casual.
Now cooking can be fun.